Hi, my name is Elizabeth Echeverria. I'm the founder of Living in Liberty, a nonprofit in Pittsburgh that helps women transition out of a life of sex trafficking. Today, we are going to be talking about the issue of how to help stop human trafficking. That's often a question that people who want to engage and are passionate about the issue ask themselves, but especially when you're initially learning about it, you're not sure how to engage. You're like, I don't know enough to do something. I don't have the skills. I just don't know what to do. So today we are going to talk about the things that you can do to engage, to start out, to help stop human trafficking, because we can all do something, whether it's from our home or actively going out and engaging with an organization. Awareness and do prevention. We especially love to get into schools to do prevention work. We also do street outreach, connecting with women that are trafficked and prostituted in parts of the city in Pittsburgh. And then we also operate a resale shop called Repurposed, which helps fund our work. So those are 4 ways that Living in Liberty works to help women exiting a life of sex trafficking. So today we're going to talk about how to stop human trafficking. How can you stop human trafficking? And my first way to have you engage is to learn more about human trafficking. The more we know, the more we can combat it. I always like to start with a story, and a story about when I started this work and I first started interacting and talking to other coalition members and the FBI. And what I learned was that there weren't many cases of human trafficking when we started this work being reported. And I don't think it was because it wasn't happening. I think it was because people weren't aware and so weren't able to identify and report it. And so as more and more organizations like Living in Liberty and other organizations raised awareness and educated people on the red flags and what to look for, more and more reports came in. And so what happened now is the FBI gets more cases than it can handle, So that effort in raising awareness, learning what the red flags are so that individuals can then identify it and report it, is one way that we can stop human trafficking. So let's start by talking about some of the red flags. One of the biggest red flags that we talk about is, an older man with a younger girl. Now, just that one scenario doesn't necessarily create a trafficking situation. But when I talk about all these red flags, it's more of a picture that's being painted of, multiple things happening. So if there's an older man, it's often a big age difference that doesn't seem to be able to be explained away by being, father-daughter or uncle, niece. So you just feel like something is off in the situation. You might not be right. It might not be trafficking. So we don't want to just jump to that conclusion right away. Another thing is if the person seems overly fearful, submissive, tense, or paranoid. Now, again, these qualities or characteristics can apply in a lot of situations. So it's not necessarily just because someone's exhibiting this that means they're being trafficked. But if in the picture of maybe this older man with a young girl and they're exhibiting these characteristics and qualities, well, that's going to make me even more concerned. And is the person, do they have physical injuries? Or maybe they have tattoo brandings on their face or chest, and tattoos maybe about money or sex or pimp phrases, So, one of the things one phrase I saw was moneymaker or a pimp's name. When people get tattoos, they often have very personal meaning to them. There's a reason why they got a tattoo, and they can explain to you that meaning. So if appropriate, having a discussion about what that tattoo and what it means. I mean, that's not always going to be an opportunity to have a discussion, because it might not be the right time or the opportunity to have that discussion. But having someone explain a particular tattoo could be another way that you could help identify if they're being trafficked. Another way is maybe they're dressing inappropriately, overly sexual, or inappropriate for the weather. So if they're, like, again, not just this one factor, but in the big picture of things, of other things that they're exhibiting, these would be concerning factors. Another thing is where a minor is maybe unaccompanied at night, and they're not really able to give a good explanation about what they're up to and why they're on their own and who they're with and what they're doing. Again, doesn't necessarily mean a trafficking situation, but with the big picture of things, could be concerning. Another red flag is someone who is not in control of their identification documents, their passport or their visas or other identification documents that someone else is handling for them and they don't have access to them. That could be a red flag, especially maybe for labor trafficking. Persons who are working long, excessive hours and seem to be at the beck and call of their employer so that they have to be available on demand could be a red flag for labor trafficking. Another red flag is overly sexual for their age or situation. So a child that's exhibiting overly sexual behaviors, especially inappropriate for that age, that just makes you question, would be a concerning situation and a red flag. Another one would be multiple phones or social media accounts. This is something we often saw with the women we work with, is that they often have multiple phones, and it's not unusual for them to have multiple social media accounts. One that they use for personal, for family, friends, and then another one that they use to connect for solicitation. So that would be a red flag. Another thing is signs of unusual wealth or, finances without explanation. So maybe they are, it's not unusual for a trafficker in the grooming process to lavish them with gifts, to get their hair and their nails done, to buy them clothes, to take them to dinner, to buy them designer purses. And, if they don't have the means to purchase that, that would be a red flag to me. Person, also living in the place where they work, such as in the massage business, and they're not free to come and go, that would be concerning. So these are all red flags and things you would look for. You look for a bigger picture of things, not just one of these things would say that it's trafficking. But certainly would be concerning if I identified multiple items off this list. So now that you know some of the red flags, why don't you share those with somebody? The more that we can teach other people and help other people learn about red flags, have a discussion with somebody and engage and ask them what they know about trafficking. And maybe you guys can share information to learn more from each other, or maybe you can teach them more. And one thing is you can do, if they don't know anything, you can share this video so that they can learn more about the red flags. So that's one easy way to help people stop human trafficking. So what should you do if you suspect someone is being trafficked? Now, I would say never intervene directly in the situation. For one thing, it's first responders that are the ones that need to that are trained to go into situations where you feel like someone's in immediate danger. In fact, if you feel someone's in immediate danger, call 911, explain what's happening, identify the situation and you're concerned that someone's in immediate danger and maybe that you suspect trafficking, but you're not sure. Your responsibility is not to determine what is actually happening, just what you have observed. So calling 911 when you're concerned that someone's in immediate danger. If you're not concerned about someone being in immediate danger, but you just want to report a situation you might suspect is trafficking, you have questions, a good number to call is the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And that number, you might want to write this down, is 888-3737-888. And again, you want to write it down, put it in your phone so that you can have access to it when you need to. So, I mean, we never know when we might encounter one of these situations. So we want to be prepared if we are, you know. Maybe you encounter someone that's being trafficked and needs support. The Human Trafficking Hotline has access to resources for trafficking victims all across the country, and they can connect trafficking victims to organizations in their local area that will help support them and help them get out of their situations. So put the number in your phone, share it with people so that they have it, but make sure you have access to it for when you might need it. The third thing that you can do is invite someone to come speak to a group that you know, whether it be a small group, whether it be a school to do prevention work, whether it be a church. All groups of individuals are great potential places for organizations to come speak. So whether it's here in the Pittsburgh area, Living in Liberty would love to come speak. We also do online presentations. We will travel as well, so you can request a speaker from Living in Liberty by going to livinginliberty.org and filling out the speaker request form. Our awareness and prevention lead will get back to you, and we will work out the details from there. If you need help potentially identifying another organization, I suggest you look, search Google, and you should be able to find other organizations in your local area that would come speak to organizations. Most organizations similar to Living in Liberty all go out and speak to local businesses, schools, and other places to raise awareness about the issue of human trafficking. So I thank you today. I hope you've learned several things that you can do to help stop human trafficking. That's certainly a start. We will be sharing more videos about ways you can help. Another way you can help today is to like, subscribe, and share this video from the Living in Liberty YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a great day.